is this him is talking about? It's talking about the Messiah. It's talking about the real Messiah come from the Father with the name of Yashiya. That's his Hebrew name. There were no J's in biblical times. And it was translated into Greek. So there was no J for the name of Yashiya. All right? Keep reading, please.
And how shall they preach, beginning at verse 15, and how shall they preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the gospel of peace.
Now, we want to go back in a little history here with that scripture right there. That's a wonderful scripture. And how shall they preach except they be sent? Sent by who? Sent by the UN? Sent by the world power? Sent by your bishop? Sent by who? You got to understand who you're sent by. And his word says, how beautiful are the feet of those that bring the gospel. And how shall they preach except they be sent? Sent by Ehyeh, Ehyeh. As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace. Now, through many years, even over in this country, they brought us a gospel. They told us a gospel when we got off the slave ships in this land, this land of captivity. Not through peace, but by the sword. We have documented history of the gospel being colonized in other parts of the world by the sword. That's not scripture. You weren't supposed to spread the gospel of truth and understanding through the sword. It was never supposed to have been preached with the sword. So we knocked that down. You can keep your missionary stuff on that side. You can keep all your guilt of enticement on that side. We want the true word of God preached to us. And it says it's going to come through peace. All right, through real peace. You read it.
But they have not all obeyed. We'll read 15 again. As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the gospel of peace, who bring glad tidings of good things. But they have not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah says, the Lord who has believed our report. We just read that in Isaiah 50. So then faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Most High.
By the word of the Most High. Salah. Let's go back to Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah 52, verse 7. Isaiah chapter 52, verse 7.
How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news.
How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bringeth good tidings. Now, who is this him right here talking about upon the mountain? That is Yashiya, right? When Christ returns, his feet's going to touch down on the Mount of Olives, correct? All right? So the scripture is giving homage to that. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bringeth good tidings. Go ahead.
Who proclaims peace, who brings glad tidings of good things, who proclaims salvation, who says to Zion, your God reigns.
All right, wonderful. And mine does say it like this, that published peace that bringeth good tidings of good, that published salvation that saith unto Zion, thy God reigneth. Now, I want to believe that report, brothers and sisters. I'm not looking for a report of man. I want to stay with what the Most High has told us in his word that has been proven throughout history, and to be faithful and true. That's the report we want to believe. So, being in these last days, we encounter other people of different beliefs, what they choose to do. We encounter different philosophies and made-up doctrines of men, right? And Scripture tells us this is what will be going on. But we got to stick true to the Word of God because His Word is faithful and true. give you an example of what man would do or what man would construe out of their own thinking compared to what God has said. Okay? We should always follow what God has said, not what man has said. What man has said, it better line up with what God has said. Okay? So we always want to stick with what God has said. Okay? Let's go into Exodus chapter 3. Let's go into Exodus chapter 3.
If anyone has any questions that they would like to ask at this time, we certainly want to leave that open. This is a study hall, so we do give you an opportunity to ask your question. And again, you can unmute yourself by pressing *6 if you have any questions or any interjections.
And yeah, please feel free to come on in, ask a question. We'll keep everything in order, decent in order. We'll keep everything decent in order, but yeah, we will answer the question. So everyone, let's go to chapter 3 in Exodus. Now, what we're sticking with today is whose report will you believe? I believe the Most High. I believe the Most High. Okay? You got everybody saying, well, no, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. So you go override what the Most High said, right? So let's go right here. We're in Exodus chapter 3, and we're going to start at verse 13. We're going to figure out what the Most High said to the father of bringing us out of our captivity, Moses. Okay?
Beginning at verse 13, Exodus chapter 3.
Yes.
Then Moses said to the Most High God, indeed, when I come to the children of Israel and say to them, the Most High God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say to me, what is his name?
Now, see, Moses knew what's about to go down, okay? Moses knew his people. He knew you got to be able to relate to your people, okay? Moses already knew this. Hey, you know what, Moses? When I go into Israel and they ask me, what should I say to them? Who is this person that's delivering us out of the land? He asked the question. He knew they was going to ask him that, right? So he went to the source. The Most High is the source. Keep reading this.
What is his name? What shall I say to them?
What is his name? Now, I don't know if people are dyslexic. I don't know if people see things backwards or whatever, but I can clearly read this in English. Yeah, it's translating in English for our understanding today, but this was in Hebrew. Read that again, Susan? That's a question, right?
Right. The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say to me, what is his name?
What is his name?
What shall I say to them? And God said.
And God said, so immediately here we go. The Most High understood the question. The Most High understood the question. Moses asked the Most High, what is his name? And then he asked another question. What is his name? And then what shall I say unto them? Go ahead, read.
And the Most High said to Moses, I am that I am.
I am that I am. Prophet C.C. Duncan, in the Hebrew, right, because we know that's how the Most High, that's the language of the Most High.
Yes.
What is that translated into Hebrew?
Ehyeh, Yashiya, Ehyeh.
What'd you say?
Ehyeh, Yashiya, Ehyeh.
So did the Most High say that out of his mouth?
Yes.
So how can that change Ehyeh, Yashiya, Ehyeh to anything else? How can that change that?
It's not. You can't. Because God said it. The Most High said it.
So the Most High said that to Moses, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, was that the first answer to the question? Let's keep reading. Is that the first?
That was the first question answered.
Okay.
And he said, thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am.
Ehyeh?
Ehyeh has sent me to you.
So that being said, there is no room here for debate. there can't be any room for debate because the Most High said it.
Right.
Not Josie told me this, or James told me this, or Mike told me this. No, the Most High told Moses this. Let's go to Genesis. Let's go to Genesis.
And again, for those who are taking notes, we have been first to Isaiah chapter 53, beginning at verse 1. And then we went to Romans chapter 10, beginning at verse 14 through 17. After which we are now at Exodus chapter 3, beginning with verse 13 through 13 and 14. 13 and 14. And now we're going to Genesis, what chapter?
We're going to chapter 1. But brothers and sisters, stay focused with us, stay with us. Remember now, whose report will you believe? Okay? Anybody bringing a doctrine to you, telling you this is what happened, or this is what happened, or this is what's happened, and beforehand, when you read in the Bible, thousands of years before their scriptures came out, or their theologies came out on this planet, and in the Bible, if God said this, if God said this, He dominates that. This is supersedes what your doctrine is. Okay, if the Most High said this, that's what it was. Let's go to the book of Genesis. Let's start right here in verse 3.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 3.
Yep.
Okay. Then the Most High said, "Let there be light." And
What'd you say, sister?
Then the Most High said, "Let there be light."
So if the Most High said, "Let there be light," with all your common sense people, you know there was no light before that, right? There couldn't have been no light before that, correct? If the Most High said, "Let there be light." What is that light? What was the light that the Most High said, "Let there be light"? And what else he said?
And there was light.
And there was light because he said, "Let there be light." Right? Mm-hmm. Let's jump on the precept on this one right here. I'm jumping around, but I want everybody to get understanding. He said, "Let there be light." What was that light that he said in the book of Genesis? Let's go to 2 Corinthians. What's the light he's talking about? Let's go to 2 Corinthians here. Chapter 4, verse 6. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6. See, we gonna stay in the will and the perfect likeness of the Most High because we gonna do what He said. Yeah, man, you can say this, you can say that, but what the Most High said?
2 Corinthians chapter 4, beginning at verse 6.
Hold on, sister, let me see. Okay, so we go start at verse 4. Okay, we'll go down to start at verse 4. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Who was that light that Ehyeh said, "Let there be light"? Well, who was he talking about? Whose
minds the God of this age has blinded? But even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing, whose minds the God of this age has blinded, who do not believe, lest the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of the Most High, should shine on them.
All right. And I want to stay focused now, okay? So there's many things, many powerful things in this scripture that tells the truth, okay? Even things that happen at the beginning of creation, okay? Even things that happen in the beginning of creation. So go right back, Prophet CC, and read that verse again because the Most High just revealed something here.
Okay. And so I'm beginning at verse 3, just a little bit before 4. It says, but even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing.
Wonderful. So mine say here, I'm in the King James Version. But if our gospel is hid,